Hello everyone, Neve here, and today we are doing another My Magical Month, and this is my magical month of March. In front of me here I have my two spiritual journals plus my menstrual tarot journal and my regular agenda, because we'll take a peek into that as well. So first things first, I got new decks in March, so I kind of want to just show those real quick. I will have a dedicated walkthrough of each of these decks, but yeah, let's go to the new tarot decks section. So I got the Desert Illuminations right here. I also got, so this is the only tarot deck I've gotten this year so far, but I've gotten lots of Oracle decks. But in March, I got the Phenomena Oracle. Really cool. There we go, focus. And this just came in, and I did already do a reading with it, but it just came in, and it's a Kickstarter. It is the True Sights Oracle. Awesome. So yeah, so these are my brand new decks this month. I'll do a more thorough walkthrough of these decks in their own videos. I think this one's going to be up first, just because it's a Kickstarter and had just come in. So I kind of want to get this one done first, even though this one I got at the beginning of the month, and then a couple weeks in I got this one, and then at the end of the month I got this. So oh, sorry, I had to cough there for a moment. Anyway, so, yeah, so let's, in fact, I'm gonna show just a little bit of this, Phenomena Oracle, because one of the first things I want to show, is a reading that I did with this deck, combined with a couple other decks, and I had it with, the Mildred Payne and the, Morgan Greer. So this was an interesting spread. So, basically what I did for this client reading, they had a question on why something is happening in their lives. Why is blank happening? Why do I keep experiencing blank? And so I pulled out, this was brand new when, this client, asked me for a reading. This was like seriously brand new for me. Like I had just gotten it like the day before. So I was itching to use it. And, I asked if that I could use a brand new deck, one that I had not used at all yet. And they were happy to let me experiment with it. So I think what I'll do, I'll just lay down one card of each of these just to show. So the first part of the reading was basically explaining the phenomena, and I use that word, phenomena. So why, the general question is, why is blank continuing to happen for me? And so one card represented the phenomena. What, like this card represents that phenomena. What is going on? And then kind of the middle part was for Mildred Payne's, and it was a 9-card box, which is how I use the Mildred Payne's. I use it like it's a Lenormand, even though it's not a Lenormand, but I use it like it's a Lenormand. And I have found that I've really, like, I already say that I'm pretty sure the Mildred Payne is my favorite oracle so far, and it's really true. And I find the more I use it, the more it just works for me, and the energy of it really makes sense. So the middle part here further explains what's going on. Like, this is the phenomena itself. It's kind of a general overview, and then this kind of gives more detail to it. And then finally, I chose Morgan Greer because of the person asked me the question. This deck fit with them, and it sort of fit with the question that they were asking. I didn't choose this to match with these. It was just, it matched the energy of the question. So that's why I chose the Morgan Greer. But so the first card represents the negatives of the situation. What negatives could you glean from whatever the situation that keeps happening for you? And then the last card was the positives. So this was the layout of that spread, and I gotta say, it turned out perfectly. I also like that it fits nicely. The Mildred Payne fits nicely with Morgan Greer here. But yeah, so the first card represented just the phenomenon. What is going on here? and it kind of just, it's almost a significator, but it's really, you know, it's cutting to the core of what is going on here. And then the middle part here was, of course, you know, further details on what's why this is happening, or what's going on in your life that is contributing to this. Sorry, I just dropped a card. and then the final two cards was, what are the negatives of this? What are the things to think about, or to, you know, that could negatively affect you, or to keep in mind, and then ending it on the positives, because that seemed like a nice place to end it. So love this layout. I'm of course going to go more into detail on the Phenomena Oracle in later on in this month. So this is actually going to be the last of the 3 decks that I do a walkthrough of for this month. I've kind of spaced them out over the month, but yeah, so this will actually be shown on my channel at the end of the month. And I do want to say that this is done by Jessica Bott, who also did the Idiosyncra deck and the Amethyst Oracle, and they have I've actually backed their latest Kickstarter, which by the time this video goes up, which is tomorrow, will be April 1st actually, the Kickstarter's ending. So the Kickstarter is for their new deck, the Cracked Amethyst Tarot, and I also backed the 2 stretch goals. One is a mini version of the Idiosyncra deck, which is because the Cracked Amethyst is actually the Idiosyncra deck, which has long been out of print, but it's updated artwork, you know, as the creator became more proficient at this style of art, just kind of wanted to do a total revamp of that deck. So the new deck is called the Cracked Amethyst, but one of the stretch goals was a mini version of the original Idiosyncra deck, which I never had. So I definitely updated my pledge to add that. And then there was another stretch goal that was a mini version of the Amethyst Oracle. So I updated my pledge for that as well. So I'm really excited about that. And there's one more stretch goal, but we got 1 day left, and oh my gosh, it's just there. You know, I really hope it makes it before tomorrow. But if it makes it, I am going to update my pledge to get that last stretch goal deck, which is a Lenormand. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. So there we go. I do want to add real quick before I put this away that that was actually the only time I had ever actually used this deck since I've gotten it so far, was for the client reading. I love it, but I hadn't had a chance yet to use it for any further readings. So this week I plan to use the Phenomena Oracle deck for my nightly reader. So looking forward to that. I'm not sure what deck I'm going to use with it. Ooh, I'm kind of like... I'm kind of thinking about the Prisma or Cosmovisions and Prismavisions, maybe one of those. That might be kind of fun. Anyway, so let's move on. So I kind of think I want to start doing, or at least experiment with this video a little bit and just go straight into the decks that I use this month. Yeah, look at this. Look at this list. It is exhaustive. So I've kind of separated in the back here. I've kind of got all my decks set up into piles here because I've sectioned them off. Oh, hello. I've sectioned them off to group them with the decks that I used with each other. So that's, I think, what I want to do right now. Just kind of do it that sort of way where I'm just like grouping them together. So I started off, let's see, the first thing on the list is the Lucid Daydreams and Cosmic Slumber. And that is because in the last bit here, yeah, the last week of February and the first couple days of March, I did use these 2 decks. Now, I'm not going to share this too much here. It's more of an update because I did go over it in my last My Magical Month video. And at the end of that video, when I was talking about this deck combination, I said I wasn't too thrilled with it so far, and now that I've used it for a full week, the Cosmic Slumber with the Lucid Daydreams, or Garden of Lucid Daydreams. I always sort of forget that. So I will look. Here's the page for it. Yep. And I did all but the first 2 in that week. Yeah, so the theme goes well together, but the coloring really does not. And it really is, the white borders here are just a bit too stark with the darkness of the Lucid Daydreams. I like the energy together, and some of the readings I was getting were pretty good, but I don't think this is a combination I'm really going to use very much in the future. I think the coloring is a bit too jarring for me. The colors are pretty similar. It's just Cosmic Slumber is so bright and bold that it just, and then this is so muted that it does kind of work, but then I don't know. I think the stark difference is a little too much for my eyes. So I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But there we go. Okay, so the next combination I used in one of the moon readings, and also for one full week of nightly readings in my journal here. So which is, this I think may be the first full week that I've done this year so far. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure all the rest, I've missed a few days. This one I missed one, so that one was really close. But yeah, so I did all days in here, and of course, as you can see, I used the new Desert Illuminations, and I combined it with both of these readings. I combined it with one of my other desert decks, which I don't pull out a lot, and this is not a deck that I often see used on TarotTube, but it was a nice, cute little deck that I got on Etsy, and it is the High Desert Oracle, and I really like this deck. Now, I am originally from the desert in Southern California. I'm from the Mojave Desert. I'm going to put that right here. So this deck, by the way, has... they're all the same backs, some desert bloom flowers here, and it's got a keyword with some sort of desert imagery on here, and a blurb here at the bottom, which is normally not my thing. I actually, the fewer the words, the better, usually for me anyway, when I think about what kind of oracle decks I like. Fewer the words, the better. Even some of them, like the last one, the Lucid Daydreams, there were no words on those ones, and it's like total intuitive reading, and I've found that I've quite enjoyed that. However, this deck is pretty good, and now aesthetically it didn't exactly match the Desert Illuminations, but the vibes were definitely there, and I did really enjoy this. So, I mean, we got a desert bear here. Believe it or not, bears do live in desert climates. So obviously the coloring and the aesthetics are very different, but it's not quite as jarring as, say, the last combination. This really worked, and I really liked it. So it's not the most aesthetic, but I mean, look at that. That's excellent. Yeah, but I like it. I'm not going to go too much into this because this is going to be something that I go through when I do the full walkthrough of the Desert Illuminations. And I will definitely experiment with some other combinations with this deck as well. But I'm glad I pulled out the High Desert Oracle. It's not a deck I use very often, so getting a desert-themed deck was kind of the perfect excuse for this. But yeah, all right. Okay, so the next ones I kind of want to show are, I'm skipping one of them here. So this was the High Desert Oracle with the Desert Illuminations. And then we got one here, which I will go through in a second. But we're going to do the third quarter moon in Capricorn because this was what was next after, that I used the next week. So I used these things here, these decks here. my mind is not very good at remembering words. So I did not use all of these together. This is the Memento Mori, this is the Relative Tarot, and this is the Goblins and Gardens. So I think I will do this combination first. This was what I used for my nightly spreads that week. So yeah, it was the Goblins and Gardens with the Memento Mori, and I kind of like this because, you know, the Goblins and Gardens, fantastic deck, very fun, very game oriented. You know, it's because of the imagery is old D&D black and white imagery collaged over garden imagery, like from garden catalogs. Yeah, it's a very interesting, very fascinating. But you know, with the Memento Mori, I was sort of thinking about, like, you know, this has a certain fantastical element to it as well. I'm just gonna grab a chunk because this is huge. I have the Memento Mori mixed with the general expansion and the folk magic expansion, but I've taken out the Lenormand cards because I moved those to its own separate thing. I don't like Lenormand cards being part of another deck. I always like Lenormand cards to be their own thing, so I pulled out the Lenormand cards from this, and in fact I keep it in the general expansion box. And then, I put the folk expansion in here as well. So this was a good reading. I like this. Yeah, and I used this almost that whole week. I think I missed 2 days, but this was a good combination, and I liked it. It made sense. This fantastical, almost spooky elements of the Memento Mori kind of went with the sort of whimsical spookiness, I guess, of the Goblins and Gardens. Yeah, and then, you know, there's a certain garden element to the Memento Mori as well. So, yeah, I think this was a pretty good combination, and I'm pretty happy with it. All right, one more. And now I'm going to switch out this one for the Relative. So for the third quarter, I did an ancestor reading. Now, what I've been doing with my mystery cards, which the next video will be the new mystery cards for April. But what I've been doing with my mystery cards from the Lakshmi Oracle is I've kind of made it a purpose to do at least one reading with each of the deities or mythological characters that I'm the energies, the entities that I'm pulling from those mystery cards, doing some sort of reading or incorporating their energy into some working during the week or during the month. And like, so for the first quarter moon here with the High Desert Oracle and the Desert Illuminations, I did that with Gopal, and as you can see, his image is right there. And then the next one, which I'll go over this reading after this, I did with Meenakshi, and then the third quarter moon did with Ganga. Now, each of the new moons that I've kind of decided, I kind of decided this last month, but each of the new moons this year I'm going to do with on Morrigan. So that's going to stay the same. And I don't necessarily designate the Hindu deities to the other moon readings. It's just, that's kind of how it worked this cycle, this month. Yes, the first quarter was with Gopal, then the full moon was with Meenakshi, and then the third quarter was with Ganga. So yeah, but this one was specifically an ancestor reading. Now, I do have an ancestor journal, which I have not really touched. I haven't touched it at all, actually. But I will eventually. I am still trying to figure out how I want to do it and how I want to organize it. But yeah, so this combination obviously works. This is a combination that I've used before, and there is definitely a vibe between these two decks. Totally work. So pretty happy with this. And it was a good reading too. So the ancestor reading that I did, and I also used, So it wasn't just the Memento Mori. It was also the Memento Mori Ancestors and Advisors expansion, which I keep separately. So what I had done for this particular reading is I pulled a random card from here that represented the ancestral energy that I was connecting with during this meditation, reading, etc. Yeah, and then I pulled 2 cards from the Memento Mori, and then 3 cards from the Relative Tarot. And so, and if I look over on this, let me see. So the first one was the spell. Okay. I'm trying to remember the spread that I did. So I pulled the cousin card. That was the ancestors card that I pulled the cousin card, and then the first card from the regular pack was spell, and this represented a negative of that. And then I pulled what the strength was, which was pipe, and then the 3 cards down here represented how cousins negative, how cousins negative, this card here, affected my life, and then how cousins positive, which was this one, the strength, affected my life. And then finally the middle card was the card number 5, and this was advice from cousin, because cousin was the card that I pulled. So yeah, super cool reading. I might do something like this again. My ancestor practice is really sort of like, I'm in and out of it. I'm very not consistent with it. Oops, I put that in the wrong pile. I'm very much not consistent with this practice. But I would like to be more consistent. But again, I've got a gajillion things going on in my life that, I've got to kind of have to have the priorities there. But ancestor work is definitely something I want to, do more consistently. All right. Now, the next combinations, I used the Pacific Northwest Tarot with the Seed and Sickle, and as you can see, these bags match. That was the combination I used for my nightly readings, and it is also the what I used for my menstrual reading. I only did one for this, and I'm going to hide the actual reading itself there, but I actually didn't use, I only used the Pacific Northwest on this one. So it was this was a general cycle check-in. My menstrual readings have, sometimes I feel like I want to do a lot, and then sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just do one reading. So the first card here represented my menstrual phase. The next card represented, hold on, let me pause. Okay. The menstrual phase, the fertile phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. So I did the cycle, the phases of the cycle, the portions of the cycle. So yeah, so it's a general check-in on where I was last cycle and how I'm entering this cycle. So yeah, it was a pretty good check-in sort of reading. So I'm gonna put that to the side and I will pull out these. Okay, so I just had to pause it because my husband came out for coffee, so I'm not exactly sure where I was, but it looks like I have pulled out the Seed and Sickle and the Pacific Northwest. So as you may have noticed, the bags for these are very, very similar. Where did the other bag go? Found it. Here it is. Okay, so the bags are very, very similar, and that is because I made them to match, and they're exactly the same size and everything. I made them to match because I got these 2 decks with the intention of using them together. Yeah, and I kind of wish I hadn't done that because yes, they look lovely together. They really do. They look nice together, but I don't know. I think the energy is off a little bit. Oh, sorry. The dog just came from outside, and she's shaking her whole body, making a bunch of noise. But anyway, yeah, so they do look nice together. I don't dislike the way they look. It's just, I think there's something that's off about the energy with these 2 decks together. But I think one of the main issues is the issue that I have with the Seed and Sickle. Now, this deck, you know, famously or infamously, however you think of it, comes with 2 guidebooks. And it was kind of gimmicky, sort of, at first, and a lot of people were very intrigued by this. And I was okay, like, I wasn't thrilled with the 2 guidebook things. I really rather they be all part of one guidebook, you know? But, but yeah, and now that I've had this deck for a few years now, and I do hardly ever use it, but I gotta say, the 2 guidebook thing is incredibly obnoxious. Like, it's pointless. It's really pointless. Like, and I get confused by it because there's basically two different meanings for each card, and I don't know. It just bothers me. But the thing is, I like the deck. I love the aesthetics of the deck. That mushroom card that I just pulled. Oh, no, never mind. I thought I pulled the mushroom card, but I didn't. But the mushroom card in this deck was the inspiration for the bag. But anyway, I love this card. I love the feel of this deck, the look of this deck. And I like also that there's just a simple keyword. A lot of people don't like that, but I happen to like that with Oracle cards. When there's too many keywords, it kind of confuses me, or it locks in a meaning. Whereas with something like this, I would rather use this more like a study, or to look into what this means for me, and take an intuitive read of the card itself. I like the snakiness of this with the lizard here. That's kind of cool. So I mean, they look nice together, and that was why I wanted them to go together, because I could see that they would probably be aesthetically pleasing. And the readings I did were fine. I just don't love this combination, you know. I'm thinking of doing kind of like a full deep dive of this deck, where I largely discard the books, and kind of just come up with my own interpretations of what these cards mean. And, you know, I will, you know, read the passage and stuff, and, you know, get sort of a history of the herbs and stuff in this. But yeah, I don't know, I'm using a lot of words here, not saying a whole lot, but I just want to do a deep dive of this and kind of come up with my own interpretations of these cards, because I think what's really holding me back from this deck are these 2 guidebooks that just frustrate me, and I complained about them at night too. Yeah. So that was my nightly reading was with those 2, but I used a different set of decks for my full moon reading. So I'm going to pull those out, and I do think I might pass this bag along, because I don't particularly like it. Well, I don't particularly like this deck with the Pacific Northwest. They just didn't fully click. And also, I made the bag too large, because I made the bag to fit the big Liminal 11 box that these come in. And it's perfect for that, and it's actually the exact same size as the bag that I made for the Pacific Northwest Tarot. So I think I may end up selling this bag specifically, and saying that you could use it for the Pacific Northwest Tarot, you could use it for a Liminal 11 box, but something like that, because I think I want to, once I go through a deep dive of this deck and kind of come up with my own meanings again, I think I want to remake the bag and kind of have this as its own thing. So that's kind of the plan. I'll see where I go on that. But yeah. Okay, so for the full moon reading, as you can see, I set this up a little bit differently, because I used 3 other decks with this, and I put one here, and one here. So I'm going to pull those out. This is the 3 illustrated decks. I don't know what to call the set, because it feels weird to call them the illustrated decks, but yeah. So we have the illustrated Herbiary, Bestiary, and Crystal crystallary. So I'm going to pull these out. Okay, hopefully this is all in frame, but here we go. So I actually, you know, the seed and sickle doesn't quite fit with the Pacific Northwest, but these were fantastic. And I've really found that I'm really opening up to these decks. I think what was taking me a while with the illustrated decks here, I was having trouble with the guidebooks. They weren't quite working for me. And now this is a type of deck that does have a lot of keywords. It's got the name of the herb, the beast, or the crystal. And I'm just going to move them off this way. And then it also has kind of just a phrase on the top. So heart's home, commune with nature, envision the future. And I've kind of, like, when it comes to Oracle decks that are like this, that have the multiple keywords or phrase or something, those sorts of Oracle decks, I've kind of found that I like to use them as spread positions. So, you know, I set it up like this so that I didn't have 3 and 3, which is, you know, often what I do, sort of. But I just kind of wanted a different visual. So this position would be Heart's Home. This position would be commune with nature, and this position would be envision the future. And then I would read it based on that. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed this, and it made sense. Oops, wrong one. Oh, and I guess I haven't been moving these off. Here we go. All right. So yeah, I mean, I think it worked pretty well. I mean, here we go. Here's the reading that I did here. And I kind of, you know, burdock, tap your resources, and then I pulled the hanged one for that. By staying close to my roots, I can tap into resources already available to me. There we go, tap your resources and staying close to your roots. That's kind of how I read that, because the hanged one is the cocoon, you know. And then a little owl was key into wisdom, and that was attached to the 10 of Pentacles. So generational wisdom. Meenakshi encourages me to do ancestor work, which was kind of why I did ancestor work later on in the month with Ganga. So that's kind of how I interpreted that. And then the last card was Morganite, fill yourself. And I got the Death card. So turn endings into new beginnings. Speak with past loved ones, because that sort of connected with that 10 of Pentacles there. And let go of what's holding me back. So yeah, I thought it was a very good reading, and I actually really enjoyed this combination, and I've really been enjoying these illustrated decks lately, and they go with a lot of things, and they're so bright and colorful, and that's really what drew me to these decks, was how beautiful they are, how incredibly beautiful the artwork is. It's right there, you know. It's just taking me a while to really connect with it. But I'm finding lately, especially when I have decks that really go well with these, yeah, that I'm connecting pretty well with these. All right, so let's move on to the next ones. So I have a few more combinations to show, but the last week that I've done in my nightly journal, I only did 2 days, the first day and the last day. And I used, this was the same as the Sabbat that I did. All right, here we go. Ostara. So I used the Hedge Witch's Oracle. I always forget the name of this one because it's not a very intuitive name. I kind of just want to call it the herbiary, or well, not herbiary, but like something herb related. And it's called the Hedge Witches. And I don't know. The name of it just never really sticks with me. And I used the Shadowscapes Tarot. And fun thing, I actually finally made a bag for this. So I've been talking about this for a long time. I'm not going to show it on this video. I'm actually not going to show it until next month. But I did, in fact, make a bag for this deck. I've had this deck since about 2012, so it's really old. But yeah, so And for this week, I only did it on the first and last days. And funnily enough, I pulled the same card from the Hedge Witch's Oracle for both the days. I pulled Foxglove, which is right here, Foxglove Connection, for both of those days, which I thought was kind of funny. But I also used that for the Ostara ritual. And by the way, for the Ostara ritual, I have a video of my full ritual on my YouTube channel. I did a full calling the corners, casting the circle, calling down deities sort of thing for Ostara, which I have not done in years. Sorry about the dog, by the way. But yeah, so I did a full, kind of Wiccan-y ritual that is up on my channel. Now, I didn't really speak. I just did a voiceover, so I didn't really go into the nitty-gritty of each little part of the ritual. But I also in that video created a money bowl. So definitely go check out that video and watch me make a money bowl and watch me do a full Ostara ritual with calling the corners and everything. All right, so the Shadowscapes and the Hedge Witch's Oracle. These are two decks that I hardly ever use, but they go very well together. They definitely, these are like two peas in a pod. Yeah, the artwork just... Anyway, the artwork just really goes together. I mean, we got that very simplistic art style of the Hedge Witches here with the super ornate, colorful, detailed shadowscapes. And, and one of the main criticisms of the shadowscapes is that it is so detailed and it's such a small, size deck. I mean, it's that old Llewellyn size, and it's just about the same size as this. Yeah, they're exactly the same size. So it's exactly the same size as this Hedge Witch, but because this artwork is so incredibly detailed, this is one of those decks that really would probably do better as a larger deck, like a larger size deck. And I don't say that lightly because I actually prefer some smaller decks because I have very small hands. But these two decks just, they go very well together. It's just this week I really didn't do... it's just we kept going to bed really late that week, and it was by the time we got into bed, which is where I do my nightly readings, it was like almost 11, and I don't want to pull out my cards and stuff, and when it's almost 11 I want to go to sleep, all right, so that was the Shadowscapes and the Hedge Witches. Okay, so the final reading was my new moon reading with On Morrigan, and I'm pretty excited about this one. I actually just did this yesterday. It was a day late because we were out of home for the day that was actually the new moon, so I did it the next day. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that about this one because I used the new True Sight Oracle, and it was fun. All right, let me lay out what I did. Okay, so I used 4 decks for this reading. So these two, I pulled out the cards, so that's why it's just the bags here. But these two here are the Citadel deck. This is the Citadel, and this is the deck of emblems. So obviously these two go together. I wanted to use them together. And then the True Sight Oracle, of course. And finally, my Crow Tarot because this was reading done with On Morrigan, I wanted to use a Crow Tarot. Now, with the combination that I end up choosing, the Murder of Crows probably would have looked better, but I was more drawn to pulling the Crow Tarot for this particular reading. So what I did, so the first card that I pulled was from the Citadel, and it was kind of, and this was done during a meditation, and it was sort of how I am coming into the Citadel, how am I coming into this reading. So we got the warrior here, perfectionism, burnout. I realized I don't really like the keywords on this either, because I feel like I would have a different reading of what the warrior is. And the card that I actually did pull for that reading was the smith, which I would have a different interpretation than the keywords that they had at the bottom. So I may be doing some sort of adjustment with this deck. I'm not sure. So, and then so this is how I'm entering the Citadel, how I'm entering this meditation or whatever. And then it's, what tool am I bringing with me? Stairs. That's an interesting card to pull. But like, let's say, okay, purse. We'll go with that one, purse. So privacy, finances, a windfall. Or I would just ignore that and just come up with my own sort of interpretation of what the purse would mean. And then I pulled 3 cards from the True Sight, and these were this. I was using this as spread positions. So investigation. Let's see. All right, athletics. Yep. And let's see. Long rest. Okay, so there's the reading there, or the spread positions. So I'm coming into the meditation, or into this. How I'm coming into the Citadel is as a warrior. So I could. Maybe determination, or with a lot of fight in me, or with a lot of frustrations behind, depending on how I would read that. And I'm coming in with purse, so I've got a lot of resources. I've got things. I could think of it as an empty purse. Or so I prepared to fill my bag, perhaps. But if I see purse, I'm thinking more monetary or resource based. So maybe I'm coming into this somewhat contentiously, ready for a fight or something, and I know I have the resources to back up some of my claims, or to back up my feelings on things. And then I would pull for the spread positions, investigation. Okay, what do I need to investigate? Okay, we've got the 8 of Pentacles. I would need to investigate the amount of work that I would need to put into this. Okay, and athletics, maybe fully getting going on it. I'm separating these a little bit because the Crow Tarot is just a little bit too big for that. All right, so how I can get going, or how athletics is also kind of a, I'm sort of thinking of a jumping through hoops, or what kind of hoops do I have to do, how flexible do I need to be on things? I don't know. I could go in lots of different directions with that. So let's see, we got Ace of Pentacles. Okay, that's maybe connecting to the purse there. Using what's in my purse, using some of those resources is how I might read that. And then once I make myself known and make my position known, okay, the long rest, and what do I need to do to achieve that? Let's see, we got the 6 of Cups. I'm maybe having a bit more compassion. Maybe, coming into this with a lot of strong feelings, strong emotions, but knowing that I've got what I need to back myself up, and was shown here with athletics being the Ace of Pentacles. And there we go. So, there's a little sample reading, and I actually loved this layout. Again, I think maybe the Murder of Crows would aesthetically fit these 2 decks a little better, but for this particular reading, I wanted to use a Crow Tarot. But there's lots of different decks I could experiment with this, but I really liked using these cards with the Citadel ones. And we could pull, other, like the Advantage. And I believe that was one of the cards I pulled. These are the cards I pulled. Okay, hold on. Let me do that. Okay, and then Persuasion. I've only had it for a couple days now, and I've only done this one actual reading, but Group Check, it was a super cool deck. I'm not sure if you can even see those, but There we go. It's a very, very cool deck. It's kind of tabletop RPG based, you know, total party kill. So I'm gonna do a full walkthrough of this deck. It's probably gonna be up next week. So I put my videos up on Tuesdays and Saturdays. The next one after this, because this is going up on a Tuesday, then on Saturday I'm doing my mystery cards, but then on the next Tuesday I'm going to go ahead and do a walkthrough of the True Sights Oracle. All right. So that was all the decks that I use this month. Next part of this is upcoming plans. So this is my daily agenda. This is my real agenda book, not really spiritually based or anything, but the first section I use to record what YouTube videos I'm uploading. So I mean, this was January, February, March. I gotta check that off because I put up the Rujin Kado. So the April things I have here. So the My Magic Month, that's this video here. Ooh, let me see if I can pull this down a little bit so we can see. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right, so My Magical Month, and then Open Cards will be the next video. And then I actually had Desert Illuminations next, but then I got in the True Sights Oracle, so I'm switching those around. True Sights is going to be the next walkthrough that I do. Then I'm going to do my Tarot Trimester. This was something that I started last year, and it's basically every 4 months just doing a recap of my practice, things that I've been working on, going through my journals and figuring out what's working, what's not, what sorts of things I want to change, or practices I might be interested in picking up, or details on practices that I've been working on, etc. So just it's kind of my practice catch up for my Tarot Trimester. So that's going to be on the 12th, and then the Desert Illuminations walkthrough. And then I'm going to do the Taurus study. Yeah, I was going to switch it with the Phenomena walkthrough, but yeah, I'm going to do the Taurus study on the 19th, then the Phenomena walkthrough, and then I'm potentially going to do a Travels Protection spell on the 26th here. I switched it with what I had there, the Rujin Kado study. So here's the thing. At the end of this month, we are actually going on vacation. So I'm going to have these prepared and ready for before we go. And we're not actually coming back until about the 4th of May. So I'm going to change up what I have here in May, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do the My Magical Month or the Open Cards. I might have to switch some things around and do a different video here and move the My Magical Month down. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not sure how this is going to work. Maybe I'll do the My Magic Month or the Open Cards are here. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. But anyway, that's the video plans for this month. Yeah, so I think that's it. I'm not going to be making, well, actually, I am going to be making some bags this month, because in May, I'm hoping, by the end of May, I am hoping to do another latest bags video. And speaking of, this month, I did do, the month of March, I did my latest bag creations. So definitely go check that out. Yeah, I would love to showcase and for you guys to see the bags that I made. Yeah. So that brings us to the Tarot and Oracle Tournament. Yay! Yay! All right, so those were all the decks that I used this month. Let's see. These were decks I brought in. Way more Oracle than Tarot. And now let's do all right, so the 2025 Tarot Tournament. Let's see. What was my favorite Tarot deck this month? I think I'm going to narrow it down to the Pacific Northwest Tarot or the Desert Illuminations. And, yeah, here's the thing. I got this deck in, so that's brand new, and I did use it a lot. And I mean, it was the first full week that I did this year was with this deck. So that's definitely something to keep in mind with that. That said, it is brand new, and so it's maybe not fair. I don't know. Whereas with the Pacific Northwest Tarot, I use this deck for 3 different things. I did it for nightly reading. I did it for my menstrual reading. I use this deck for a spread in my journal here. What was it? Because I used... oh, right. It was the full moon. I used it for the full moon. So I used this for like 3 different purposes this month, and I was really very happy with it. So I think this might be my favorite. So I'm going to go with the Pacific Northwest Tarot, and I remembered to grab the correct color pen because I wanted to keep all of the tarot in purple and all of the oracle in green, but I forgot that last month and I just had a black pen. All right, so for March, we're going to write PNW, Pacific Northwest Tarot. Okay, excellent. All right, so the favorite deck this month was the Pacific Northwest Tarot. So the Oracle. Yeah, let me pull out the runner-up, the finalists for this. Okay, so I'm having a hard time choosing between these 4. I'm gonna take 2 out right away because they're so brand new. So the Phenomena Oracle was fantastic. I think I'm going to have a better gauge on this deck after this week because I'm going to be using this week. Still not sure which deck to use with it, but I'm going to use it this week for my nightly reader. So I'm going to pull that one out. And I am going to pull out the True Sight, even though I absolutely loved the reading that I did with this. It was just that one reading, and this is like I just got it a couple days ago. Sorry about the dog. I'm not giving her too much of a hard time with their barking lately because she's been sick. So, I'm kind of just happy to see her running around now, even though she is obnoxiously barking because someone dares to walk their dog. But anyway, so my finals between these 2, here's the thing. The Mildred Payne is really right now my favorite oracle. And it's one that I use, kind of just every day sort of reading, really connecting with this. And I love the reading that I did for the client using this deck. So it's definitely up there. However, I kind of want to give it to the High Desert Oracle here because this is not a deck I use a lot, and I did have good readings, and this was that week that I did every single day, so I think I got to give it to the High Desert Oracle. All right, so here we go. High Desert Oracle, March. High Desert Oracle. It's a really good deck. Sorry about the dog. Okay, that was everything. This video has been incredibly long. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!